What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of D3 Yappers. We might be D3 runners, but we're D1 Yappers at heart. I'm here with my lovely co-host, Noah Tobin.
And I'm here with Faith Duncan.
We have a very exciting episode for you today. It's been a minute since we recorded, so a lot has happened, but also not a lot because we took a week off training to reset and prep for the indoor season. But as we said last time that we chatted after Nationals, we were gearing up for one solid indoor effort to kick off that season before this little breaky poo. So we raced at Grand Valley State University in Michigan. Both of us did indoor 5K on a 300-meter track. Why don't we go ahead and talk a bit about the races? What do you have to give us? Give us a quick little recap rundown of your 5K.
Yeah, since I went first anyways. So I made it into the second fastest heat at GVSU for the holiday invite. Faith was in the women's fastest heat, which is right after mine. And then Simon also raced after all of us. And we had two guys earlier in the day, Tate and Gabe. Both did well. Gabe had a lifetime best by like almost a whole minute. And just really proud of how everybody performed. But anyways, yeah, my race. I was seated probably like in the middle of the pack of my heat, which the heat was like 28 guys.
It's a lot of guys on a tiny track.
They split us up at the start, and I wasn't on the brake line. Like I was technically not even on the track for my break in. So when the gun went off, I just went right to the back because I knew it was going to happen. The Pacers said they were going out for 14:10 pace, and the goal was just to honestly just hang on for as long as I can in the smartest way possible. And I came through the first mile in 4:36, which is like 14:20 pace, which is like kind of exactly where I wanted to be. And so I was like, all right, let's just roll with it. Or I think 4:38 actually is 4:20 pace, 14:20 pace, something like that. I know I was probably a little like a couple seconds off of goal pace, like ahead. So I was like, okay, that's money in the bank. We'll see what happens. I came through 3K, or no, I came through 2K, and I was in 2K in 5:45, which is like still 4:38 mile pace, which is like still on pace to run like 14:24, which would be like a 10-second PR, which was the goal. And then I came through 3K in like 8:38, which is probably the fastest I've ever came through 3K in a 5K before, because my 3K PR is only 8:29. And so that was still 4:38 pace, so I was still on pace. Came through 2 miles in 9:12, which is kind of insane because I ran 10:20 in high school for 2 miles. And
development, we love to see it.
we love to see it. And after that, I started picking up people, and I finished the race, made lots of moves. I was proud of how I moved throughout the race. I covered moves, responded to moves, did really well, focused on my cadence and my form to catch up to people, just to like really didn't think about what the time was, especially after 3K, because I thought it was money in the bank. I think that fourth K I fell off somehow, but I felt I was responding really well the last K. So I really don't know how it went wrong in the fourth K, to be honest. Like it just went by so fast.
Yeah.
But I think that's the problem sometimes, transitioning right from cross country fitness, using that cross country fitness, going straight into track fitness. Because sure, I went out at pre nationals in a 4:34 mile, but like we also slowed the heck down because it wasn't about time, because it's cross country. So it's like track is like, oh yeah, we're gonna go out in that, we're gonna keep going, and like we're just gonna see what happens. So I finished, ran 14:34.97, which my PR is 14:34.61. So really, really close to PRing. I was able to run with some good talent and a bunch of guys that I'd known for a while though. So it was nice to get back in it, and honestly just put myself in there. That was one of the big things that Ron said to me mid race. He was just like, throw yourself in there, like show you belong here. And because that was one of the big things before the race started, because
getting into
the right heat. I mean, a really good runner that I know, his name's Tyler Jenkins from Rio Grande. He runs really fast, we competed a lot during the cross country season together, and we've always been kind of around the same fitness. And he ran 14:33, and he won the heat before mine. And then I ran 14:34 and got like 15th, maybe 12th in my heat. So it's like I had a shot. I mean, for the most part, I think it's good because I think starting training now, since we're back into it after our time off, like, we're gonna get back to that fitness and just proving to myself that I belong there, and we're back into it. So I was just happy. I was happy with it, to be honest.
Yeah, I think watching your race from the outside looking in, you said it really well. Like, you just were covering moves, bridging gaps. It made it a really exciting race to watch. I think a lot of times people watch races and they watch like the front, right? And in cross country, most of the meets, you were pretty much at the front. And so, don't take this the wrong way, but being kind of like more in a pack of dudes and having to make moves and bridge gaps was really entertaining to watch. And I think it also just highlights the whole no quit. But it was kind of crazy. They were like moving through those heats pretty quickly. Like, you finished the race and I was like on the line getting ready to go because they were alternating men's and women's heats. And I was like looking up at the board, like trying so hard to see the time. And like, I know it was like a smidge off the PR, but I think your fitness is probably beyond where you were when you ran your actual PR. I think, again, it's just that adjustment, and you spoke on that a bit, but that adjustment going from cross country to track, especially at a meet like this where everybody at this meet, just most people were in the same boat as us, I think, just carrying that fitness over, trying to use like the momentum from cross country to run fast times, other than a few people who had like redshirted cross and were just coming out of nowhere onto the scene. But women's race was pretty good. Usually going into races, I don't want to say I'm not a goal setter. I set a lot of like long-term goals, but for races, I'm like, oh, the objective is to win. You just focus on winning the race. Eventually the fast time will come with it. So it was a weird race and a weird finish because I got second. I got hawked down in like the last 50 meters, and it was like a lean at the line that caught me so off guard. Ran 16:07, and I don't think I realized how badly I wanted to dip under 16 until after the race when I didn't. And I know like now I'm like deep down, I really wanted the sub 16. And I think I should have been more explicit about that as a goal. And I also think that, we talked about how we got sick over Thanksgiving, and part of me after was like, oh, well, if this was the weekend of cross country nationals, like, you would have done it. But at the end of the day, that's all part of the game, is timing. And it was a massive PR for me, first indoor 5K ever. So I really can't complain too much with it at all. I think the more I look back on it, the happier I am with it. I know I finished the race, and I think even if I knew that girl was coming up on me, I don't think I would have been able to do anything. So we'll take it. And first collegiate, so maybe the bean burrito still has a 100% success rate because we had Taco Bell the night before.
Oh yeah, and we almost felt guilted into it from our coach. He's not superstitious, but he's a bit stitious.
He's a little stitious.
But I will touch on the whole racing thing, and that's just, I think how we left it was the most perfect way you could do it, because sometimes I feel like it's a little discouraging if you run something ungodly at one point before we take time off. If you end where you started the previous year, or for me, if you run like I did, my second fastest 5K in the past 2 years, basically tying my PR, it's a starting point. And so I was looking forward then to taking my time off so that I could, get ready for some new fitness. So for you, I feel like saving that sub 16 moment for a more special race that's, you're more prepared for track wise, I feel like that's going to help a lot more along the line.
Yeah.
And it, like we said before, it keeps us hungry.
100%. That definitely gave me the itch. I would like finish the race and was like, I want to do it again, like tomorrow.
100%.
So anyway, oh yeah, you used your new spikes at the meet. Tell us about
I
that.
did, yeah. I used the Dragonfly 2s. They were great.
You were debating between getting the elites and just the normal ones last time we spoke.
I'm really glad I picked the regular ones just because I'm more familiar with that, and I've been using the On XC spike all season, and that kind of like is not, I wouldn't say soft, but it's more like a sock to the foot, in a sense, like an extension of the foot, not as much of a helper. Like it helps, but it doesn't. I mean, it's not a carbon fiber plated spike, so it's not as hard, but it rolls really well and kind of helps you go. It's got the
speed board plate.
Speed board, yeah. It's a speed board, so it's not as aggressive. Yeah. So it kind of helps for cross country. Definitely liked it for cross, but I like totally panic purchased those spikes because I was
you were also scared that they weren't going to come in
right.
time.
That's I paid extra for shipping. Still got it on sale and still got it cheaper than it was, so that was good. My big deciding factor, and I still stand with it, the elites, the spikes don't come out. So I'm like, those spikes aren't going to last very long. Like I'm going to go through those spikes
so fast.
But I'm happy. I'm happy with getting the 9.5s instead of the 10s because I've been wearing 10s for all my career, but I don't wear socks with my spikes anymore. So it was like perfect to fit like a glove. Nice. I felt very in control of my legs.
Nice. Yeah, I used the same spikes I used all last track season.
Those spikes are crazy.
The Saucony Terminal.
You should talk about it. Yeah.
They're the lightest on the market. They're awesome.
Literally light as a feather.
You pick those up and you're like shocked, especially because like that foam looks kind of like a chonk on the bottom of them.
It's very aggressive.
Yeah, it's a very aggressive spike, very rigid. It's carbon plate, and you can see the plate like in the shoe if you look at it from the bottom. Like I'm honestly shocked that more people don't wear this spike.
I'm shocked more people don't wear it either. I think
amazing.
People are kind of blinded by Nike.
Yeah, it definitely puts you.
Don't get me wrong, I love Nike. I mean, I literally just bought a pair of Nikes, but
yeah, I
will say, if I didn't buy those, I totally might have like. If I could get in a store and I could try them on, which is the huge problem, which is a rant that we should totally do on this podcast. Good. Well, my rant is just more running shoe stores should have spikes to try on. I hate that I can't try on spikes. Like, why can't we do that?
Yeah.
This is a racing necessity.
You have to, yeah, and being able to try it on in a good environment too, because if you're on like a tile floor, you can't really get a feel for it.
No.
Like it's very difficult. But these spikes anyway, the other thing that you were kind of amazed by, they have a gusseted tongue. So it's like the tongue meshes
like a sock.
With the upper. It's like a sock. It's amazing. I still wear socks with my spikes because I need a crew sock in my life.
I wonder if that would rub more or less without socks.
I don't know. But either way, I love them. It's the perfect amount of aggressiveness. I think if you're a midfoot or like a 4-foot strike, it's going to be a great spike for you. I've used it from everything from 800 up.
But if you're a heel striker, it's probably not for you.
Probably not. Low key.
No, I mean, yeah. I'm confirming. Just from what I can see.
Anyway, yeah, great spike, light as a feather, good fit, love it. That's what I wore, and I have no reason to change spikes. So then we took a week off. So usually we say what was our best run and our worst run. I guess like we could say yesterday and today we ran. Today was pretty awesome. We did a long run out in the trails. Yesterday was pretty awesome because it was the first run back. What were some of the highlights? What was the highlight of your week off? The high and the low.
My low is definitely getting ready for my presentation.
Oh yeah, the presentation.
Yeah,
tell us what it's about.
I had a 10-page paper and a 7 to 10 minute long presentation I had to do over that paper due this past Thursday for my night class for grad school. And I was big stressing because I totally didn't start the paper until that Sunday. And it was very stressful. But I got all my homework done and everything done that Sunday. And the only thing I had to do for the next like 4 to 5 days was that paper and the presentation. And we got through it. But man, I was crashing out hard the night before. And then an hour before the presentation, I was crashing out even harder because it felt like I just forgot everything. But I don't know. For my best thing or best run? Best thing. Right? Best thing that happened was probably to to be honest, all the downtime we got to spend together. Not trying to be a cringy couple, but it's very nice being able to
But
just.
was there one specific fun thing? Because I can agree with that. But
Okay, I'm gonna go away from the couple thing then. If you're gonna
okay.
put me on this, I played a lot of NCAA football the past like 48 hours, and it's been amazing. BGSU got a national championship because of me, so that was pretty fun. I probably won't get to do that a whole lot in the next couple of weeks, but who knows?
Yeah, with school and holidays. I would say my low point was not training. We crashed out. It was crazy. After 4 days, I usually go off the rails a bit, but we prevailed. Thanks
A bit?
to my
Going off the rails a bit's a little underselling.
thanks to my buddy here for helping me pull through and keeping me entertained. Speaking of, we went to Hobby Lobby finally.
Oh, that was fun.
Hobby Lobby and Tzatziki's. It was so fun. Need to go to Tzatziki's more. That was probably my high.
Tzatziki's is like a faster pace, like a not fast food, but like it's kind
like
of fast food.
Mediterranean.
But it's like Greek
They have
Mediterranean.
falafel.
Yeah, it's good.
It is really good. Okay,
I got a lamb burger.
I got a
It was really
falafel gyro, however you say that.
Yeah, it's right. Euro.
Yes. Anyway, back to our off week yaps. We talk a lot about heart rate and stuff when we're running. Oh, we were talking about how you could die from being too fit and how we needed this recovery week so that we wouldn't get too fit.
So that we wouldn't die because we were just so fit.
Yeah, because some cyclists...
we're just so swole, we're swollen.
So swole, we're swollen. The cross we bear.
No, but what you're bringing up is like a really crazy thing that I never knew. And when you brought it up to me, I actually like... There's things you bring up to me, like random like facts and stuff. I'm like, this means nothing to me. But sometimes
it means something.
It really catches my eye. And I'm like, this is crazy. So please elaborate.
So we were talking about like low heart rates in athletes. And in cyclists, it's crazy because you can spend so much time on the bike without impact. And if you have fuel, you can just go for hours every day, which is why cyclists can do so much volume. But they get so fit from this, their heart rates get like incredibly low. Like there's this guy, Miguel Indurain, who was like one of the best cyclists like in history. Heart rate, like resting, was low as 28 beats per minute. He has 5 Tour de France victories. His VO2 max is 88. Basically, he's proof of how fit cyclists can get from like a resting heart rate standpoint. A lot of other cyclists have really low resting heart rates, and I wanted to look up kind of like the average of that at the pro level. And I found this study that Whoop did with the Tour de France in 2020. So basically, Education First Easy Post is a pro cycling team, and Whoop sponsored them through the tour and tracked a bunch of their metrics, resting heart rate being one of them. And so their team as a whole, their average resting heart rate going into the tour, like when they were ready to rock and roll, was 42. The average person is 60 to 100 beats per minute. What's yours generally? Like yours is pretty low.
Like 52.
Yeah. Like mine's
sometimes 47.
Mine's
I think
like,
mine's 47.
I feel like yours should be in the 40s.
Mine's 47 and my high range is like 52.
Yeah.
On average it's 47, 48.
Mine generally, like if I just like wake up in the morning, I'm like a mid-30s gal. If I'm like sitting, chilling the day, like when the doctor usually does it, I'm usually like 44 about.
My last 7-day average, 49.
All right.
It jumped up a lot because we've ran the past 2 days.
Right. Anyway, so basically resting heart rate, like if you're really, really fatigued, you're getting sick, your resting heart rate can be elevated a few beats per minute, and that can be like a sign to like rest. So basically, this team in the tour, they started at 42. After a week of racing, because it's a stage race, so basically over the month of July, you race 21 stages. So it's 21 days of racing with a few rest days between stages here and there.
Insane.
Yeah, it's crazy. People don't realize how much these guys ride. It's like, it's almost 100 miles a day. They're on a bike multiple hours every day for 21 days, and they're riding hard. Besides the point, after the first week of racing, their resting heart rates were elevated to 51. They got a day off in the middle of the tour, and their resting heart rates dropped after this day off to 40, which is below what it was at the start of the tour, which kind of shows that they gain fitness through stress, which is what training does. You pile stress on the body and then you recover, and that's how they gain fitness. So that's kind of a cool point to say, like, with our off week or whatever, that's essentially what we're doing.
And we gained fitness, and there was no harm done, and we needed those 7 days off.
I just need my endorphins. I need the daily endorphins.
A crash out's okay, as long as you don't completely total the car.
I love that analogy. That was so good. Anyway, the other random fact from this study that I thought was really fun, they tracked sleep also. They all averaged 8 hours of sleep, because when your sole job is cycling, that's pretty easy. But Nielsen Palace, he's an American. He was getting over 9 after a rest day, and he had 64% of his time in REM and deep sleep, which is what they consider restorative. The average person gets 40 to 45% in REM and deep sleep. So, that's crazy. He had to be recovering so much because of that.
Well, when you're in, it's exactly what it is. REM and deep sleep is the part of sleeping that is your body, repairing itself.
I don't know how he does it, though. I don't think
he's in control of it.
He's so lucky, though, because my sleep...
His body just knows that. It's like when you're eating the tacos. Your body just knew you needed the fuel the next day for your runs and your bike ride and your swim.
Nobody's gonna understand the tacos analogy.
Oh, we had this really good taco place.
Agave and rye.
Yeah, the night before we just started back to running.
And I crushed tacos, and I was like, "This is because my body knows that it's coming back tomorrow."
Because I was crushing her in every meal on our 7 days off.
Until that one. Anyway. Oh, also in the cycling world, I wrote this down. The day that I thought we were going to record this podcast, it was Jonas Vingegaard's birthday. Happy birthday, Jonas.
Happy birthday.
He's 28, and he has a VO2 max of 97. It's pretty awesome.
I feel like that's impossible.
Yeah.
What?
So that's our fun recovery week study.
All right, cool.
We went a lot of fun places. We went to a coffee shop in my hometown, Lebanon, that I love. Lot number 1. Love me some Lot 1 coffee. Found a fun little caffeine and heart health study from the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism. And it basically said that 200 to 300 milligrams of caffeine per day is associated with 48% lower risk of new onset cardiometabolic diseases or disorders. And that's like type 2 diabetes, coronary heart disease, and stroke. So basically, Mr. Barista here, King Kava, working at the coffee shop, is out here saving lives, including ours. It's just our secret. Also, it's associated with low density lipoprotein, which is bad cholesterol. So
you gotta give the people what they want. That's what we always say at work.
You introduced me. Oh no, we didn't just go to Lot 1. We went to that place in Wittenberg too. That was really good.
Oh yeah, Coffee Expressions.
Coffee Expressions.
Yeah,
that's where I discovered that I love a nutty coffee.
Oh yeah, that's like our biggest take of the week that we discovered. But I always knew about myself, but I acted like it was new because it was new for you.
Yeah, you got me on.
Love a nutty coffee.
The pecan one was really good. Almond.
I got you. Oh, I got you. We got Winans too.
Oh,
but you just weren't there.
So we
got a good coffee from Winans. It was the pecan pie latte.
That was fire.
Which had like brown sugar, cinnamon, and caramel, and obviously pecan. Then I also had you tried that. My version of it at Kava.
Yes.
I basically had them make you that, and it was actually pretty identical.
It was really good.
It was really good.
Yeah.
Then we have something called a butter toffee latte at Kava. That's pecan and toffee. It's really good.
Coffee and
it's
running.
Butter pecan. That's why it's a butter toffee.
If you take the running out of our week, it's literally just us getting coffee talk. There's also a really cool study that I found when I was in the wormhole about BMI and the Boston Marathon. So basically, the British Journal of Sports Medicine did this study that was supposed to be on REDS and LEA. So REDS is relative energy deficiency in sport, a term that more and more people are learning, and LEA is low energy availability. But they tested this in the Boston Marathon fields across men and women, which is cool because usually people just associate with this with more of like a women problem or issue. And the part that I did not think was interesting, like they were talking about like REDS and LEA, of course, there was no significant difference in the body mass index for athletes with or without low energy availability, and there was no significant difference in BMI and performance. So there was no correlation basically between people's BMI and where they placed in the field, which I thought that was really interesting because I think it just proves more and more what people are talking about with, like, first off, how BMI is screwy, but also a lot of times there's a stereotype of little twig runners being the best, especially in the marathon.
Or lighter means faster.
Yeah,
sometimes
that whole mentality.
Sometimes stronger is faster. Majority of the time.
Yeah. So
I mean, we talk about that all the time. We talk about how when I was a freshman in high school, I weighed 125 pounds after my first cross country season, and then I took 2 months off and I ate a lot of food and I weighed 140, and then I never have weighed any less or any more. I've stayed 140 until I got into college, and then I started lifting a lot more and running a lot more, and so it kind of just was balanced out. But my water weight varies so much that I've gotten down in the summers of training to 133 before.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm very compact. I don't lack in the muscle department.
Man's a unit.
Not trying to toot my own horn, but I'm very blessed. So
we just try to become absolute tanks out here.
But I mean, I did think that was part of my problem in high school, and it was kind of like a little thing that like I didn't like about myself, and it kind of carried into college a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But then I started to get better about eating and started doing the right things and working out. And
I think as long as you just take care of your body and show yourself self-care, eventually it'll pay off and work wonders. But the other thing that I think it shows with the no significant difference in body mass index in athletes with and without low energy availability is it shows that it's kind of screwed up because a lot of times people don't screen or check, or doctors don't screen or check for low energy availability or like eating disorders in athletes unless they have a low BMI. And so they'll just check their BMI to see if they're like okay or need additional help, but that's not always the case. So just thought we'd put that out there. In terms of more fun events, Sarah Hall, Valencia Marathon. She had the American Masters record. She's 41 years old. She averaged 5:29 to take 10th place in a time of 2 hours, 23 minutes, and 45 seconds. The race was won in 2:16:49. What do you have to say about that?
Just very stealthy performance.
Yeah. She's also sponsored by ASICS. You have a pair of ASICS you really like right now.
Ooh, Nova Blast.
Yeah.
The Nova Blast. They just came out with the 5s, and they kept it the same price. It's still $140.
They look fire with your new fit yesterday, too.
100%. I need me an all-white pair. Sorry, sucker for an all-white pair. It just goes so well.
Yes.
But
you can pull it off.
I will say, $140 seems so much cheaper now than paying $140 back in 2020 for my first pair of Hokas. Like, I can't believe that they're still keeping it at $140. Big W for ASICS.
Well, and I think so much.
That's a big daily trainer.
The super shoes have like skewed things so much now too, like with carbon plates and the new foams. Like
it's like $220 to $240.
Yeah.
For a carbon fiber plated shoe.
There's the freaking Adidas one that's $400 now.
Well, now there's super trainers too, like the Cloud Monster Hyper.
Yeah.
Which is a really good shoe, but it's $220.
Everything is skewed. We also had World Athletics Athletes of the Year announced. The one I actually didn't know, Letziel Tebogo, sprinter from Botswana who won the 200 meters at the Olympics this summer. Sifan Hassan, honestly, okay, I'm a Sifan Hassan fan. If you haven't seen any interviews from Sifan Hassan, watch them. I'm going to put one on the Instagram. They're hilarious. She's so human. She was your Olympic marathon champion, but get this. This is why she's amazing, and she deserved this more than anyone else. She was not only the Olympic marathon champion this year, She also took bronze in the 5K and 10K. You realize she had to do a round for the 5K too. She had to do a heat for that.
She's just built different.
She is.
Obviously, because she was the marathon champ, running 2 5Ks was not that big of a deal for her.
And a 10K. Like, fast.
But still, that's still really hard.
Anyway, but her interviews are fantastic. Like, if you watch her interview after her first marathon, she's talking about how she's like, I woke up this morning and I cried and was like, why did I decide to run the marathon? And I would go out for these long runs and these workouts and be like, why am I choosing to do this every day? This is so stupid. I don't want to do it. But she does it. And I'm like, oh my gosh.
We love seeing human responses. I think a lot of people get wrapped up in thinking that everybody's that does what we do is like superhuman and like likes it all the time. Now we enjoy it, but like I don't know, like I feel like
it's like it all the time. If I don't, it's because I'm probably hungry or tired.
Well, that's what I mean. Those are the only times that I don't like it is when I'm like hungry because like this morning because we were
what were you hungry for on the trail?
We were just
let's be real. I'm not editing that.
You're wild for that. Pancakes.
They were good pancakes.
They were good pancakes. Kodiak birthday cake pancakes. Your chef in the morning, Faith Duncan, cooked it up.
I'm
it was
a sucker for anything birthday
Post
cake.
long run, it was great. We ran on the muddy trails today. I ran for 80 minutes.
It was 8 miles. And then I walked it in.
Because she was dying. Not actually dying. Her muscles were like
cooked. I need to get on my PT grind. I need to do that tonight.
You do need to do that
tonight. Punish me if I don't do it.
Settle down. Behave.
Okay. Hoke is dropping some athletes.
Because they're old.
That's exactly what Kellen Taylor said in her interview with Runner's World. Nobody on the Hoka NAS Elite, that's Northern Arizona Elite team, is older than the age of 28 at this point. And Kellen Taylor, who's a 2:24 marathoner, was at the Olympic trials, the past 2 trials, actually, I believe. She literally said they cut everyone that's old. And it was the
it's
article.
Funny because 28 is not old.
Yeah, the article as a whole was like very crazy reading. They talked a lot with Kellen Taylor. Highly recommend you go find it on Runner's World and give it a read. She was literally with Hoka from before they even had racing flats on the market. She was like wearing their products all the time. The Cliftons. She loved their products before she was an athlete sponsored by them. And she just has a lot of frustration with the brand in general. It seems like they want to save money for other things instead of kind of keeping these older athletes on. They're thinking about doing some NIL deals and stuff. So yeah, lots of business ethics involved there. Gosh, we talked so much about business ethics.
And that kind of sucks because, I mean, if you like a brand, you solely have passion for that brand. It works for you. And then you're able to like be sponsored by that brand. And then to be cut by it, or just to have frustrations because they're not going or being the same brand that you thought they were. I mean, it's hard. And like from a business ethics standpoint, if you are managing that department, like things change. Time goes on. Different things are required to happen because you have to change with the time or you get left behind. But you always have to stay loyal to certain people, and you should always know values. Like the value of loyalty is more than the future reach of certain people.
Yeah.
You don't just, push over somebody.
Yeah.
That's been there all along. Just because there might be more success in another area.
Yeah.
You work with that person.
But ultimately, they're cutting 8 of the 20 athletes on the NAS Elite team. That includes Alafine Tulamuk, who was actually an Olympian in 2021, 2020, however you want to put that. She was the Olympic trials champion actually that year. Kellen Taylor, who we already spoke about. Futsum, Zena Selassie, Lauren Hagens, and Stephanie Bruce, who Steph Bruce is just a total badass mother runner who has just had such like longevity in her career. They've had a lot of turnover with coaches in that group. Also, Ben Rosario was the original coach, founded the program, hired Alan Culpepper. Rosario is now leaving, but Alan Culpepper moved after 14 months with the program, and now it's Jack Mulaney, who every time I read that, I just want to say John Mulaney.
John, yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. I was like, oh, that's interesting.
Hopefully he's staying with the people that are there, and I just hope that the agents of the athletes leaving are doing them justice. Oh, you probably know more about this last one than me. Graham Blanks is going pro.
Yeah, I mean, I saw it. I follow him on Instagram. I saw he's going pro with New Balance. Yeah.
Okay, my favorite thing about the Instagram post. Oh, I guess you wouldn't get it because you haven't seen Ted Lasso. The post, he's sitting in like stadium, like chairs, and they spell out like the New Balance in the white and red, and it's oddly similar to the Ted Lasso theme song intro, where he's like sitting in the stands. It's like the same.
Oh my gosh! Yeah,
you just pull it up on Instagram. I just pulled it up on
Instagram. Yeah, it's great.
That too.
Back to back to pro. What? Yeah, it's a pretty good post to start it on.
Really cool picture too.
Yeah, I mean, he had an NIL deal with New Balance.
Oh, well, I guess not shocking then. Somehow
you didn't know
that? No, somehow I didn't.
Really, you didn't know that?
Oh, but I guess Harvard is Harvard a New Balance school?
No.
I feel like they are. I feel like Harvard is.
I don't think they are.
I feel like they're like the only.
I think they're like ASICs.
I think Harvard and Providence used to be New Balance also.
Maybe.
Which is weird.
Providence is New Balance and still is. Watch me be like totally wrong. I'm telling you, I swear.
Oh,
Nike.
I guess you're Nike.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I guess I was wrong on the ASICs thing. Oh, because I saw Ivy. Don't flame me for that.
All right. That's it in terms of our news and.
You have a Strava shout out though.
Oh yeah, we always end with some Strava shout outs. I hope you have one ready to rock.
Oh yeah, I have one ready to rock. But I would be so cool if you went first.
I just want to shout out Hannah Weimer. She is one of the coaches at Findlay, which is a D2 school in our area. She was also in the heat of the 5K with me at Grand Valley, and I see her at a lot of meets because we race Findlay a lot. Haven't really talked to her much though. Anyway, we ended up running our warm up together. Usually I run my warm up like absurdly slow, but we started yapping, and I actually like shuffle. I did more than shuffle in my warm up for once. Usually I'm really, really slow on my warm ups before races. But ran with Hannah, and we just had some really good talks about kind of her experiencing college and grad school running for Malone and then Findlay, and now she's coaching there. She's working at a shoe store and just really like living the dream and still pursuing her goals in running post collegiately. So I'm going to give Hannah Weimer a Strava shout out on our little warm up jiggy jog that we did. It's on Strava. So yeah.
Honestly, I'm going to give a shout out to a loyal listener, and he's a pretty cool guy, and he's a clown, and he's a goober, and he makes training fun, and he's just a fun dude to be around, and he's a class act. We ran with him this morning.
Oh my gosh, I knew you were gonna say this. He better listen.
He better listen. He better be listening. Everybody needs to come out who's on Strava and follow Henry Hildebrandt.
He's gonna get spammed with
Henry Hildebrandt.
And be like, what is happening?
He's a freshman on the Wilmington College team, and we've been training together since this early summer, and he's really coming on strong here, and I'm really excited to see what he does in track, and I'm very proud of his transition to college so far. His story is a little unique. He took a gap year before he started college to be in, what was it? It wasn't Mississippi. It was Mississippi. Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he was away for basic training and then was stationed there for the year, or basic training / stationed, something like that. But yeah, he was away from us for a year, and I remember all of last year he was running at 5 a.m. before his days at the base, which is dedication. Like really badass.
Yeah.
So bro's been through a lot and is finally getting the race, and I'm really proud of him. And he's on his grind now, and we're all really looking forward to track season. So follow Henry Hildebrandt and Hannah Weimer on Strava.
100%. Henry better listen to this.
He better.
And he better listen all the way to the end.
Any quotes, Bible verses, or words of encouragement for our followers as they start their new week?
Wow, I was just about to ask you that because you always are really good at this. Finished reading Jeremiah yesterday. Started reading Lamentations today. And I watched the Bible Project overview of Lamentations beforehand so I could get an idea of what I was getting into. And it talks about basically how even Lamentations is all about the destruction and the sorrow of Judah, like after they're sieged by Babylon. And it's talking about how it's really a perfect example of how God keeps his promises.
You got it.
It's all about how like we can trust God's promises because he basically promised destruction and they got it. And like they got it in the worst way. And so even though it was terrible, it was an example of God keeping his promise. And eventually
God delivers.
Eventually he restored the people, which he also promised them. But first they had to get through that phase of destruction and sorrow and lament. And it was because, you know, they had that example of, at first they were like, oh, God's not going to destroy us, right? But then they got it. They were able to trust him and then also trust that he would restore them. So I guess trust. Trust the process. Trust God. It's not relevant to the pod, but I was reading that this morning and thought it was cool.
No, and I agree. And I think my little my phrase or advice, I guess advice, but not through, it's not from me, but it's through me, I would say, is what I've gone through this week is pray when you're happy, pray when you're sad,
100%.
Pray when you're curious, pray when you're unsure, pray when you're stressed, pray when you're happy and joyful and grateful, and, you know, pray for others. When in doubt, just pray.
And trust that after the destruction, there is restoration.
100%.
If God wills it.
And not only pray for all those things, pray with others. I think that's it. If we don't have another episode before the holidays, I hope everybody has a happy holidays, and I wish everybody safe travels as they embark on their journeys to all different family members all over states and countries.
Yeah, exactly what he said. I echo that 100%. So, all right, happy holidays. Happy